Back. You guys ready?
Sure.
Yep.
All right, mailbag part two. Um, it's actually been what was it, 2 days or 3 days in between our last mailbag recording
Yeah.
here.
Right.
Yep.
All right, so next is from Big Rig, and the subject is weight training policies. On January 1st, 2022, Eddie Kingston made a tweet reading, "To all the new gym people starting today, guess what? Let's go. Time to change, and you got support." Very nice tweet, except he completely ignored his own advice, failing to alter his physical appearance in any way since then. Do you think it would be beneficial for AEW to institute a weight training policy? Not everyone is needed such a thing, but there are many people in the AEW roster that might be more encouraged to change their appearance if their job was on the line. It is unacceptable in this day and age to remain small. Guys like Adam Cole, Chuck Taylor, and Eddie Kingston will be smart to invest in their bodies, considering how often they were on national television. Thanks. Um, I don't. There's no policy to weight training, but everybody should, stay in shape. This is kind of common sense. I mean, the guys that don't,
Well,
I don't know what else they're doing with their time. You know. Go ahead.
um, yeah, I don't think not to the extent that you'd be fired for it. That you know that would trigger your fan base something fierce and get you heat. But if you think about it, Di, in our days when we were kids and we were watching wrestling, and I don't know if Joe experienced this also. All the wrestlers had just average bodies. Superstar Billy Graham stuck out. And so when guys were muscular, they stuck out because there weren't that many. Then Vince probably might have fallen in love with superstar Billy Graham's physique and said, "I want everybody to look like this." And then
Yeah.
WWE turned everything around, and it was a bodybuilder's world.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the new generation doesn't give a as far as the wrestlers, but I've always said it. If you have a tan and you look good, people see you in a different light. You don't want to look like the fans, and that seems to be a problem nowadays with a lot of wrestlers, where they don't care how they dress or how they look. But you're more marketable. When you look in shape.
What do you think about Adam Cole specifically? Because I mean, he's had the same. Well, he actually used to be a little heavier, but he's had the
Right.
same look for basically the last 10 or 12 years or whatever. He's been a big name in NXT and Ring of Honor. Now he's a big name in AEW, and he's never changed his look. So what?
Right.
What's do you
Well,
think?
I think, yeah, I think that Adam Cole probably thinks this is just a supposition.
Yeah.
Hey, this got me to the dance. Why fix it if it ain't broke? But you're in the dance in the indies. You're in
Mm-hmm.
the major leagues now. And if The Rock dressed like that or looked like that or Dave Batista, Stone Cold was a whole different thing. He looked like he was in shape. You know what I'm saying? Like he looked like he could beat your.
Yeah, he was
But you got to
jacked.
look the part, dude. And Adam Cole, I like that guy as a person and as a performer, but he just needs a tan and he needs a little bit more weight. But
Let me give you a perfect example. But this is the
yeah,
problem. That's been the thing that was holding him back in WWE for years. Like
right,
that was one of the criticisms why he never really went to the main roster. But now he's working in a company where Tony doesn't care and he's putting him in the main event.
right. Well,
So
Vince
what? So,
does
so
and
now
Tony
it's right,
doesn't.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah,
Tony does. So now that he's not going to get in shape. I mean,
right.
what's the motivation for him to do it now? Tony's using him in a top spot,
It was
so he's
Jericho.
good. This is what he's going to look like. So it's
I
just like
just think
that's
you'd be more marketable,
of
my
course.
man.
I,
You know what
I,
I'm
I would
saying?
agree with that. Nobody, and the funniest thing is
Because he's
nobody's
got
going to
everything
disagree with
else,
it.
bro.
Yeah,
The guy's got the looks. The people are with him, with
right.
the boom and all that, and he can wrestle. He's got a good look, everything, bro. He's got it.
Yeah,
Those two little things. You
yeah.
know.
All right. So next one's from Michael. This is a weird one. This is from Durbin. Subject is
Okay, wait a minute
baseball.
before he even says anything.
Uh, Durbin and the subject is baseball. Hello, Yeoman Ashenoff. I'm watching this Red Sox versus Padres game right now. Two teams that you rep. Who do you cheer for when they face each other? They're both in second to last place, FYI, just like Joe's Phillies.
Ouch.
And just P.S. The indie god Matt Cardona and his valet Steph DeLander in AAA equals big money.
Hmm.
So he's trying to give you a suggestion on to use
Okay,
Matt
so
Cardona
let's
as valet in
suspend this
AAA.
guy,
Right.
Joe, for a month. We're not in the Navy. Don't refer to me as Yeoman Ashenoff, and
Right.
you never were. So unless you were a service member, that's out of line.
Right. Month.
Suspend his mailbag privileges, Joe. And I don't believe this is a first offense. So let him think about it for
And
like a month.
and his question was basically just a chance for him to say both your teams stink right now.
Yeah,
You
that's,
know?
that's also out of line.
Right. All right. Next one's from Kyle Beaver Mailbag. Hope all is well. Hope all is well for yourselves and your families. Just wanted to ask about Ilio DiPaolo and if you guys ever went to his restaurant. Any stories about his career? I don't know about his career, but we went to his restaurant when we were in Buffalo. It's good Italian food. I know WCW held some events in his honor. Also about Finlay and any stories about him. My son was born December 30th. My fiance and I named him Finlay. So figure good story to tell him when he's older about Dave would be great. Stay safe. Also, if you ever reach MVP or if there's podcast, gets to let him know. I'd love to get a grappling match with him for high rollers or fight to win, or even your boy Cross. OSS, Kyle B. I don't know. This is a weird email.
Yeah. I'd never heard of Ilio
Finlay was a
DiPaolo.
cool guy. I mean, I don't know stories. Like, there's nothing noteworthy of Finlay's stories. He was just a good guy. Just, whatever.
Well,
This Ilio DiPaolo thing was kind of a deep dive because I mean I don't know. Had you heard of him as a wrestler before this email?
No, not but we went to Buffalo.
I knew him because of the restaurant, but I'm assuming that in the 40s and 50s or 60s, he probably was a huge local star.
Yeah, he wrestled for the NWA title against Pat O'Connor and Lou Thez for you historians out there.
What year?
1959.
Yeah, so that's before our time.
Yeah.
So, but he was probably a big deal in like
Canada. It looks like yeah.
Yeah, and Finlay. The funny thing is, the first time I ever heard his name was Eddie Guerrero had come back from a trip from New Japan, and he never said, "Hey, this guy was tough" or "That guy was tough" or nothing. He never ever said it, but it really, he goes, "Man, I met this guy from Ireland. His name is Finlay." He goes, "Oh my God, he was so tough and he was stiff." And I was thinking to myself, "Well, I'm never going to meet this guy because he's going to be in Japan." And then I met him in WCW,
Right.
And I remember when I was really, really over, because when you're over, you don't have to do as much, right? So he gave me a snapmare and he kicked me in my back. And bro, I felt like I was paralyzed. And he kicked me again.
Yeah.
And I was like,
to the back with no joke.
Yeah, and so I very rarely complain because if you complain, you're like a to the boys.
Right.
And I just said, hey, bro, please don't kick me like that ever again because it's not necessary. And I thought if he does it again, he's disrespecting me. I'm gonna have to find a gun to kill this guy. But he didn't do it again. But yeah.
Disco, I wanted to ask you, did you see this clip that Conan retweeted on Twitter where Eddie Guerrero was talking about him in the shoot interview?
But briefly, I listened to bits and pieces of it.
Okay, I was gonna play. I just thought you find it interesting. I was gonna play it.
Play it on the.
All right, go ahead. No big deal.
We got a lot of mail. You can put on the Patreon.
Yep.
Next is from Oslo Gerritsen, and the subject is instant flop. So the big AEW announcement of AEW Collision was confirmed last week, and to celebrate, AEW Dynamite pulled a rating that barely passed 800K in front of a crowd that was 40% full. America doesn't care about AEW anymore. Is AEW Collision designed to fail? They started a new TV show on a Saturday, the lowest viewed day of the week. During the summer, the lowest viewed season of the year, on the same day that we'll have UFC fights. Conor McGregor just announced he's back soon. Huge boxing fights, WWE PLEs, premium live event shows, international soccer games, etc. Well, first of all, it doesn't compete with international soccer games because those are on early on Saturday morning. So I honestly think it's not out of the question that Collision could get lower ratings than Rampage. My prediction, AEW Collision starts off with a big number from a great card. Everyone at AEW becomes an unbearably smug on Twitter, then it instantly falls off the next week. What do you guys think? We're pretty clear on this. If you listen to our AEW review shows, bro, I don't know how these, but this is from Warner Brothers, Discover, right? They wanted this other show. Bro, if they think that these guys' weekly numbers are satisfactory for them to support another show, I'm like, all right.
Well,
fine.
that's what that is exactly.
Yeah,
that's exactly what they're thinking, or they wouldn't have given him another show.
I would argue with them, like, why do you think this? Because, bro, they're having attendance problems too, like putting people in the seats for these shows.
All right,
like,
so
why
here's
do
what
you think these numbers are like? The numbers are faltering a little bit right now, and you're adding content. I just don't. I'd like to know what the thought process was there. What that they're
Well, I don't.
seeing that I'm not. So
Okay, so just to, it isn't even devil's advocate. It's just my point of view. I don't think they care about attendance. They care about ratings, right? And for better, for worse, Tony always puts it up there. We were number one tonight, or we were number three. It doesn't matter if you're the top rated show on your night, or the third top rated show. That's good, and he's probably giving him. They have Glenn. At the end of the day, how TV networks are. At the end of the day, they're giving the numbers that they need to survive, or they wouldn't have given him another show.
Yeah.
So that's a problem.
Look at all the other content on TNT. If wrestling is one of their higher rated shows, even though the numbers aren't that great compared to others, it's still TNT programming. This time, Warner Brothers discovered that we want more of these shows because these shows are doing better numbers than other shows we have on.
Yeah.
Because they just play repeats of movies and mostly what they play now.
Exactly. Yeah, and again, the cable climate's not difficult to compete against right now. There's not a lot of good shows on cable.
There's nothing.
TV.
Think about all the ones you could have named 5-10 years ago: Breaking Bad, Mad Men, Sons of Anarchy. They were all on at the same time. Dexter.
Yeah, but I don't think what they probably don't realize is it dilutes the product, and the numbers may underwhelm compared to what you think they might do.
But everybody's thinking. But I know. But everybody's thinking the same thing. Tony Khan, I got more money to use as I wish, and they're thinking all the ad revenue money that they're gonna make.
Yeah, I don't think Collision will do less than Rampage, but I don't think it'll be Dynamite either because you can put whoever you want on a Saturday night show.
I don't know.
It's a Saturday show, Di. I don't think it's ever going to be. People are used to Wednesdays now. You know how that goes. So we'll see. But I don't think it'll lose to Rampage.
Well, I did hear that it looks like they fixed their problems with Punk, and he is going to show up in Chicago. Is that
That's the
correct?
word. Yep, that's the word.
All right, next one's from Brian Dunlop, our resident booker. Subject is Jinder Mahal versus Seth Rollins for the world title inside the Punjabi prison at Superstar Spectacle in India. Hello, K100 crew. I was clowning about the previous Jinder Mahal email. It was one of 5 directions I wrote on the dirt sheets for the faction following the 2023 draft, and I emailed the silliest one. Bro, you did 5 directions for Jinder Mahal? But with WWE, they go with the direction of Indus Sher squashing jobbers, all written for the prestigious Sportskeeda. Anyway, that's not what the meat and potatoes of this email. WWE is expected to travel to India to put on the show's Superstar Spectacle, premium live event. And of course, WWE will likely utilize their talent of Indian heritage specifically for this event. What if WWE brings back the Punjabi prison, assuming Seth Rollins is the World Heavyweight Champion by then? What if he defends against Ginger inside the bamboo structure? When we see the rise of the modern-day Maharaja once again. By the way, here's a link to the Sportskeeda article if you're interested. I'm absolutely not interested, Brian.
No.
I'm not interested in any of the content in this email.
It's one of the worst.
But I will say that would not be.
Ever. Yeah.
But let me just say this. But that would not be a bad idea to have a Punjabi match, whatever, in India.
Right.
Yeah, anything will get over there.
Right.